Hey y'all, so it's me Alexandra, and today I am back with another Twist Out Talk video. If you don't know what Twist Out Talks are when I twist my hair and I talk to you guys about different topics. Today's topic is going to be transitioning. I've been through this twice. I'm technically still going through it because I still have about an inch of heat damage left that's gonna get cut off very, very soon. So I'm starting off, I washed my hair yesterday and I stretched it using my braiding curl method. This morning I went to go work out and I put my hair in two buns to like continue stretching it and stuff. So that's what we're doing with right now. But yesterday when I stretched it, I used one of my thicker moisturizers to do so. So my hair is still moisturized. So today to do my twist, oh my gosh, it's really hot in here. I don't know why it's so hot. Today, to do my twist out, I'm not going to use any product because I used a heavy moisturizer yesterday and some oil to seal it in, so my hair is still moisturized from that. And I want these to be stretch twists because I'm actually going to wear this as an actual hairstyle. Like I'm wearing these twists, I'm rocking these twists for like another 3 days just to wear out, just because this week is going to be a really chill week. So I don't really need my hair to be cute for anything. So, tips for transitioning hair. Like I said, I went through this twice. I transitioned from relaxed hair to natural hair. And then that was like, how many years ago? It was 2014 I started transitioning. Oh my gosh. August, I started transitioning from relaxed hair to natural hair. And I transitioned for a year and 3 months. I big chopped at, like I said, a year and 3 months, and then I was natural. And then about 9 months later, I got heat damage, and I have been transitioning from heat damage for a year and 6 months. So I have about an inch of heat damage left. I've been slowly cutting it off, and it's gonna get cut off in the next. I just trimmed my hair, and I left about an inch of heat damage left. So that's gonna get cut off in the next couple months or so, and I'll be heat damage free, and then I'll have all healthy hair. So anyway, let's get on to the tips. Number one tip I would recommend is to trim your ends. Like, especially if you're transitioning from like relaxed hair to natural hair, you're gonna deal with your new growth. So when your hair grows in, you're gonna have a couple inches of fresh, healthy, virgin new growth or natural hair, and then you're gonna have your semi-healthy, I say semi-healthy, relaxed hair that's gonna have, and then at the end, if you have any type of damage, you're gonna have split ends at the end. And so you're gonna end up with damaged relaxed hair, semi-healthy relaxed hair, and then virgin healthy new growth that you're all dealing with. That's like 3 types of hair at once. And honestly, it makes yourself so much easier if you were to cut off like the really dead ends at the end when you're gonna start your transition, because you already know dealing with split ends is already a nightmare. Because I don't know about y'all, but for me, especially when I have a lot of split ends, my ends get really, really knotty, and detangling is a nightmare. And it's just like, it's disgusting. It looks gross. It's like when my ends are just, they're fried and dyed, like it's just like it's time to go. So to make the transitioning process so much easier, I tend to just cut off that. So you're just dealing with, like, I say semi-healthy because technically the relaxed hair is damaged, but it might not have any split ends or anything in it. So you're dealing with your semi-healthy relaxed hair and your new growth, and that's it. You don't have to deal with your dead ends getting into the way, because you know how dead ends are. They break off, they knot up, and it's just like you're already transitioning, and that's just adding an extra burden for no reason. Like, it really is. I'm telling you, it's so much easier. Even just, not even just cutting off the dead ends. Sometimes you might need to just cut off the relaxed hair to a length that's gonna make the transition easier. Especially if you're somebody who had really long relaxed hair, transitioning to natural might be a nightmare because you just have so much relaxed hair. So if you find it easier, you might have to like cut off the relaxed hair to a point where you can deal with. So if you had hair that's down to your waist, maybe you want to cut it to under your boob. Just makes it, having the less relaxed hair you have to deal with when you're transitioning, the better. and the less damaged relaxed hair you're having to deal with when you're transitioning, the better. Because your hair is already gonna start breaking. That's kind of just inevitable when you're transitioning, it's gonna start breaking. So if you already have breakage from your split ends and breakage from your transition, it's a nightmare, guys. It's a nightmare. My next tip is protective styling. Oh my goodness, when I was transitioning, protective styling is key because it allows you to not be manipulating with your hair. So when you're transitioning, your hair is fragile because you're growing out your natural hair and you're also having your straight relaxed hair. Your hair is really susceptible to breakage and everything like that. So protective styling, whether that's wigs, weaves, braids. For me, I did a lot of buns. I did a lot of halo twists. I did a lot of just things that I could just put my hair in. I'll put my hair in a braid, just like a single braid, and go. And putting your hair in protective styles not only allows the time to fly by, it allows you, like I said, not to be manipulating your hair, and that allows less time for you to get frustrated, because when you're transitioning, you get, maybe not everybody, but majority of people, like I know I got frustrated sometimes because it's just, you're dealing with two different textures of hair. It gets frustrating. So being able to put it in a protective style and let it be for a little bit, it's helping you. And when I say protective styles, I tend to at least put your protective style in for at least a week at a time. So for me, like I would like put my hair in a bun for a week, or I would put my hair in a braid for a week. And that was just allowing the whole week. I'm not talking about protective styles for like a day or two, just putting your hair in a bun for a day. I mean, that works too, but to really be effective, I recommend wearing your protective style for at least a week. Next one I recommend is moisture. I have a knot in my hair. And there is this thing called a line of demarcation, and a line of demarcation is the line where your natural hair meets your relaxed hair. So as you're growing out your natural hair, that point in which your natural hair touches your relaxed hair, that is called a line of demarcation. And that part of your hair is very, very fragile because there's two drastic types of hair. Also, these tips are not only for relaxed hair to natural hair, it's also from heat damage to natural hair, because like I said, I was suffering from heat damage, so these tips are for both. So you can't afford to have dry hair at this point because your hair is already fragile and it's gonna start breaking, and then your hair is dry and then it starts breaking. Like, no. So make sure you are moisturizing your hair, especially if you're, like I said, you're transitioning. It's just so key. Just make sure you're moisturizing hair. When I say moisturizing, make sure you're deep conditioning. Like, if you don't deep condition at this point, I'm judging you. Like, I'm really judging you, because if you don't deep condition, you need to at least be deep conditioned. If you didn't deep condition before, now that you're transitioning, you need to deep condition, okay? Deep conditioning will not only help your heat damaged or relaxed hair, but it will also help your natural hair, and it'll just also help the overall state of your hair. Just make sure you are deep conditioning. It is just, I don't even know how to explain. I can't even stress it. Deep condition. I also recommend protein treatments, not just moisturizing your hair, but also doing protein treatments. Especially, like I said, because you have that line of demarcation where your hair can easily break right off. So you want to make sure that everything is still healthy and strong. The protein treatment will also help keep your ends, like your relaxed hair or your heat damaged hair, semi-healthy. It'll help to just keep it strong so that it doesn't break off as you're transitioning. Some people, you want to actually be able to transition and not just be forced to a big chop because your hair broke off. So want to make sure you're doing some protein treatments. I recommend the Shea Moisture Jamaican Black Castor Oil Mask. It's a good protein treatment. I think Shea Moisture also has 2 more protein treatments. I think you just search on Google Shea Moisture protein treatments. They just came out with like 2 more protein treatments. So you can do those to make sure your hair is strong, and also just deep condition with just regular moisturizing deep conditioners. So you know a conditioner has protein in it if you look in the ingredients, and one of the ingredients starts with something that says hydrolyzed. So hydrolyzed wheat protein, hydrolyzed vegetable protein, hydrolyzed anything usually indicates that it's a protein. Look for those stuff in your products so that you can actually do protein, and make sure they're higher on the list, not like the last ingredient. Make sure they're like one of the top 7 ingredients. That's how you know it's a protein treatment. And it just needs love and care, just in general. Just give it a lot of love and care. Deep condition, moisturize, use your oils, do your hot oil treatments. I mean, just pamper your hair, because like I said, your hair is I cannot stress it enough how fragile your hair is when you are transitioning. Look how stretched my twists are. So tip for you guys, if you want your twist to be more stretched, do it on dry hair. As you guys can see, my twists actually look really ugly, but I'm probably gonna fix them later. But you guys can see how stretched my twists are. Yeah, it's because I'm doing it on dry hair, but I did moisturize. Like I said, I moisturized yesterday. So the key, if you want like stretch twist, if you want to wear your twist out, is to moisturize the night before and stretch it the night before, and then wake up in the morning and just twist the dry hair because your hair is still moisturized, but you don't have to like re-wet it with water to cut. Because you know when you wet your hair, it's gonna shrink up as it dries. So the next tip I would recommend for you guys is stretching your hair. This one is so key. When I was transitioning from relaxed hair to natural hair, not so much with heat damage, but when I had relaxed hair to natural hair, I used this method. I call it the braid, and I didn't actually have a name for it, but I used to braid. What I used to do after I washed my hair is I would braid my natural hair all the way down till I passed the line of demarcation, and then I would twist the relaxed hair. Doing that allowed my natural hair to stretch a little bit, because when you're transitioning, especially if you're somebody who has like type 4 natural hair and you're transitioning from like relaxed hair, it's a really drastic texture change. And washing your hair and just letting it air dry is a nightmare for me, because then your roots shrink up and then they get all matted and tangled, and then you get frustrated because your relaxed hair is just like so tangled. So what I used to do is when I would, on wash day, I would actually braid, like I said, I would braid my natural hair down till I got to the point with my relaxed hair, and then I would just twist the ends. The reason I didn't braid it all the way down is because my relaxed hair is already straight, so it's already stretched. So there's no point in me braiding it. So I have a whole video on this on my channel that I made some time ago. And it was called, I'll link it in the iCards and the description box below, but the video was called like Wash Day on Transitioning Hair. That shows you a little bit more in depth of what I was talking about when I said of how I stretched my hair when I was transitioning. That video is actually really helpful. I went back to watch it just to make sure, and it's still accurate, it's still helpful, and I feel like if you are transitioning, that's a really good video for you to watch. Like I said, I'll link it in the iCards above in the description box below to show you what I meant of how I used to stretch my natural hair. So in doing this, so when I would braid the roots and then twist the ends, I wait for it to dry, usually overnight. I would wake up the next morning and take it out, and now my roots, my natural hair, is a lot more stretched. The curl pattern is a little bit more looser, and it's usually what I would do is I would detangle before I braided it. So I detangle my hair and then braid it, so when I take the braids out, my hair is detangled, and now I can actually style it. And my natural hair, the natural hair part of my hair strand is stretched and it's detangled, and it's easier to manage instead of just letting your natural hair air dry and dealing with two different textures, and it's a nightmare. What I would actually recommend is just taking your time. Like I said again, natural hair, when you're transitioning, your hair is so fragile. This is not the time for you to be rushing and ripping through your hair and all that stuff, because then you're gonna be wondering why your hair breaking off. So I recommend that you take your time, patience. If you don't have time to do it, don't do it, okay? Wait till you have time to do it, because like I said, transitioning hair is so fragile. Like, it's fragile because you're dealing, like I said, you're dealing with two different types of hair, and you just ripping through it and doing all that stuff. You're gonna cause some breakage, especially at that line of demarcation. You're gonna end up noticing later on, like, you ended up big chopping in some areas without actually big chopping, because the relaxed part of your hair just broke off and left just the natural hair. So that means when you're detangling, take your time. That means when you're washing your hair, take your time. When you're touching your hair in general, take your time. Be patient and take your time, because I know, I'm saying this from personal experience. When I was transitioning, I had parts of my hair literally break off because I was just being impatient and rushing through it, and then you don't want that. So another tip I have for this is to gain some confidence. While you're transitioning, this is the time to gain some confidence in your natural hair, because especially if you're going from relaxed hair, let's say you had relaxed hair your whole life or something, not your whole life, nobody was born with relaxed hair, but if you had relaxed hair for the last good amount of years and now you're going back to natural, sometimes the process of going back to natural is also like a confidence thing. You know, not everybody's used to the shrinkage, the curl pattern. It's different, especially if you're somebody who always wore your hair straight, especially if you're somebody who's transitioning from heat damage, meaning that you always straightened your hair because you didn't like your hair curly or whatever. Use this time of transitioning as a time to just gain some confidence in your hair, so that when you're all natural, when you're finished with your transition, you're not just looking at your hair like, what the heck did I just do? some of the ways that I would gain some confidence in this is actually wearing shrunken hairstyles. Like I would do like bantu knots, because bantu knots are really have a lot of shrinkage. I actually have a video on a bantu knot tutorial that I did when I was transitioning. I'll link all my transitioning hair tutorials, because I did do a lot of hair tutorials when I was transitioning. I'll link those in the description box below or in the iCards too. But I did those because those had a lot of shrinkage for me. Twist outs didn't have that much shrinkage because I had a lot of relaxed hair, so that it kind of weighed down the twist out and it wasn't as shrunk. But bantu knots, I had a lot of shrinkage, so I would always do bantu knots because it kind of got me used to the shrinkage. Like it wouldn't get me used to the curl pattern, obviously, because my hair don't look like bantu knots. But it got me used to having short hair and wearing that afro type of hair, because I was always used to wearing completely straight relaxed hair. I got used to it, so now that I actually went natural and I saw the shrinkage, I wasn't shocked, because I had been wearing shrunken hairstyles the whole time I was transitioning. Sometimes you might need to follow a couple natural hair accounts on Instagram, or you need to watch a couple natural hair YouTubers. You need to, see other people rock their hair, and sometimes that might help you gain some confidence. I know that helps me too. When I was watching, I used to watch I still do. I would watch so many natural hair YouTubers and see how they had so much confidence with their natural hair. And then, so when it came to me, I was like, I can have as much confidence as them. It's hard to kind of gain confidence in your natural hair when nobody else is wearing natural hair and everybody's hair is straight and you're just like, wow, like I'm different. But me watching all those YouTubers was like, okay, there's a whole bunch of girls out there doing the same thing. Don't over manipulate your hair. Again, I don't know how many times I've said it in this video. Your natural hair is very fragile. Do not over manipulate. Do not be in your hands every single day. Like I said, that's the reason why protective styling is key, because it allows you to not have to be in your hair all the time, because you manipulating your hair all the time is only going to lead to breakage. So keep your hands out your hair. I mean, yes, you want to try new hairstyles, but kind of give yourself some time. Don't just style your hair back to back to back all the time, because like I said, your hair is fragile, okay? So make sure you have a good balance of wearing your hair out to get used to it and also letting it be. The next tip I would give is to stick to a consistent regimen. Stick to a consistent amount of products. This is not the time to be experimenting with products. I mean, I know a lot of people, when they start going natural, that's when they start buying all the new natural hair products. Wait till you're actually big chop to start doing that. So you don't want to be trying a whole bunch of new products and risking a product being so bad that it breaks your hair off, or you end up with a setback, or you end up like it ends up damaging your hair. Have you ever tried a product so bad that you had to recover from the product because the product was so bad? You don't want to risk having that when you're transitioning. Stick to a regimen that works for you. You don't want too many steps in your regimen, but you want just enough steps in your hair care routine to cater to your hair. So that means wash, shampoo, deep condition, put some leave-in moisturizer, style, and go. Like, you don't be changing your regimen up so much. Don't be changing this hair care routine so often. I don't like the way these twists are looking. I don't like them. I like the length though. They're pretty long for a twist, because usually when I twist my hair up, it's like up to my ear, because that's how much shrinkage it gets. But doing this on stretched hair makes the world of a difference. My last tip would actually be to just don't give up, because transitioning is a process. It is stressful. It's a learning process. Like it's a lot of things, and a lot of people, especially I had a lot of friends that would tell me they're transitioning, and like a couple months later they went back to getting a relaxer because they just couldn't deal with it, or they didn't follow through, but I know a lot of people who just never finished their transition and ended up just going back to getting a relaxer, or going back to straightening their hair all the time, or whatever. And honestly, you have to have some motivation, some drive, and just remember why you're transitioning. Maybe you saw your natural hair and you're like, oh my gosh, this is cute, and then I want to go back to it. Like, whatever motivation you have for going natural, just remember it throughout your transition, because there probably is going to be times where you're just going to give up and you're going to be like, I just want to throw this relaxer back in my hair. Like I said, if you get frustrated with your hair, just don't do it that day, okay? Don't do your hair when you're frustrated, because who knows what the heck is going to happen. Those are all my tips. I always finish these twist out talks before I actually do my hair. I don't understand. Okay, y'all, so I'm done with my twist. I'm just gonna wear it like this. I think I want to flip it over to this side because I feel like I'll probably bobby pin this like that because it looks. And I'm gonna leave this in for like another 4 days or so, and I'll probably take it down after. And so that is all for this twist out talk. I hope you guys enjoyed the tips. If you guys have any more topics you want me to discuss in my future twist out talks, always comment them down below. And I hope you guys, if you have any more questions about transitioning, just comment them down below and I'll answer them. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.